Hello, it's Mark from Fluent Finance Abroad, the Spanish Mortgage Consultancy, and here is the Spanish Mortgage update for September 2025. Okay, so following on from our previous market update, which was in June, where we explained a little bit about the complexities of working during the summer months of July and August. Pleased to say that the holiday season is nearly finished, but in general, we had a good July and August. The mortgage market is very strong. In fact, according to official data, July this year has been the strongest year since 2008, which is quite an achievement. In fact, 8.4 billion worth of mortgages were actually granted in the month of July. 50 billion is the actual figure, official figure from the Bank of Spain, regards to the amount of mortgages that have been granted year to date. So if things carry on along that trajectory, the projection is that they're going to be close to signing 82.5 billion worth of new mortgage business, which is interesting, which is the highest since 2008. That is interesting because 2008 was obviously the year when the Spanish property market and the Spanish mortgage market started to crash. And it's interesting for me because I was around back then, and what I noticed, there is a difference so, in what was happening back then and what is happening today. What was happening back then, and I think this is quite an important detail, is that there was a lot of refinance mortgages happening. So there was a lot of changing from one bank to the next. There was a lot of capital raising, we call it, or equity release. And we're not seeing that this year in the current state, the current market, the way we are. The majority of new mortgage lending is actually for purchases. There's not a lot of remortgage business going on. So I think that's quite an interesting detail that we should consider. If people are worried about there being the mortgage lending is booming, is that it's growing too fast. The type of actual mortgage lending that's going on is quite different to what it was back in 2007, 2008. In terms of interest rates, at the beginning of September, Euribor is actually seen a slight uptick from the month of July and August. We're at 2.19 on the 12-month Euribor rate, which is what we use here to calculate mortgage interest rates. But the average loan, or the average mortgage loan in general, now this isn't just for non-residents, this is taking into account resident mortgages as well, was actually at 2.63. So as you can see, Spanish mortgages compared to other parts of Europe and Britain and especially the US are extremely cheap. And I think people know that, and people are actually inquiring about mortgages, getting mortgages to help them buy properties, buying the property that they want, or even upgrading because of the interest rates of being so cheap. The projection is, as long as inflation remains constant and we don't see an uptick in inflation, the consensus is that interest rates will remain as they are. The European Central Bank isn't planning on making any cuts or looking to increase at any moment in time. So in general, very good news. For us, it's great news because the staff in the banks are coming back from holiday, so that means we can actually get back into doing some serious work. So all in all, a pretty good summer, pretty good year to date. And just to conclude, Spanish mortgages and Spanish banks are extremely healthy, and Spanish interest rates on mortgages are extremely low compared to other parts of the world. Thank you for listening. See you again soon.